school on a full academic scholarship, the only in my class that have a full academic scholarship. In the first year in law school, I decided I didn't want to be in law school and ended up in the bottom two-thirds of my class, and then decided I wanted to stay, went back to law school, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I won the international moot court competition. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school, 165 credits, only need 123 credits, and I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
The most amazing thing of that, all lies, by the way, the smile at the end. He's proud of himself because he got away with it, because he's not growing up here in 1972 when he hit it big as a mediocre 29-year-old, won the political lottery. All right, a couple more quick things. We're standing up for our right to be lazy
by sitting down
and declining that because we work
I
hard.
don't do that shit.
Lastly, veteran Capitol Hill, I am shocked President Biden pardoned his son Hunter because he said many times, many times, he wouldn't, and I believed him. Shame on me. Yeah, you shouldn't have fallen for it. If you can't, he likes the power. And why have the power if he can't use it to help your friends and relatives? That's his M.O. Wasn't surprised, wasn't shocked. Our guy.
You talked about wanting to unify the country if you're elected. If you are president again, in the name of unity, would you consider pardoning Hunter Biden?
Well, I wouldn't do anything that would be overt in terms of Hunter. It's a sad situation. And I'll bet you the father probably pardons him. Let's see what happens. But he's a bad boy.
You need a receipt
no question
for
about
taxes?
It. I don't want to hurt people. I really don't.
The father probably pardons him.
Stay
He was
safe,
right.
right?
Actually, I would be shocked if he hadn't pardoned him, because Joe Biden has always been about the selfish use of power. And if you don't believe me, well, let's go to the Hunter Biden laptop. It's right there. He writes a sad text message to his friend Devin Archer. Bidens are different, and you aren't Biden. It's the price of power, and the people questioning you truly have none. How dare they question? You're a Biden. You are beyond questioning. These are bad, bad people. And they still haven't gotten away with it. It may look like they did. I don't think so, because he's watching. So it's been how many days since Joe Biden pardoned Hunter? Like 4, 3, something like that. And he doesn't have to answer any questions. And the media just accept it. It's just, anyway, he's in Africa. He's in Africa. And he fell asleep, embarrassing America once again.
Tanzania is already undertaking internal consultations aiming at aligning this project with national priorities and other bilateral and regional commitments. In closing, allow me to reiterate Tanzania's
You're able to zoom in and figure out, yes, he is asleep. His eyes are closed. Yep, here we go. Granted, it seems like it's an incredibly boring little get-together there. Yeah. Oh, man, he's really asleep. He's not fooling around, huh? He's his breath. Oh, what are you going to do, right? The people nod off, but you shouldn't. But it was pretty boring. All right, what was the other thing we were going to do as we wrap up the show? Oh, this is interesting. This is what they're talking about. Issuing a pardon. Joe Biden is thinking about pardoning Liz Cheney, maybe even Adam Schiff, maybe even Fauci, issuing them preemptive pardons. This is political, so you got to take it with a big grain of salt. Democrats fought these guys, and got it right here. President Joe Biden's senior aides are conducting a vigorous internal debate over whether to issue preemptive pardons to a range of current and former public officials who could be targeted in President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House, according to senior Democrats familiar with the discussions. Give them a pardon, and then they can't be charged with anything? Guilty conscience or what? Totally. My aides are deeply concerned about the range of current and former officials who find themselves facing inquiries and even indictments. A sensible one from the accelerates Trump last weekend announced the appointment of Kash Patel. No kidding. I understand their nerves, all right? These people, especially her. You know, this January 6th evidence just disappeared because it didn't suit their needs. It maybe told the truth about what really happened. And their complicity with the whole thing, I wonder. The White House officials, however, are carefully weighing the extraordinary step of handing out blanket pardons to those who committed no crimes. Yeah, that's why we want the investigation. The deliberations touched on pardoning those currently in office, elected and appointed, as well as former. Wow. All right, that could happen. He did it to Hunter, gave one to Hunter, barely any questions asked. She did so much to get Kamala elected, right? I mean, she hurt her in the end. Yeah. This is corruption. It's not transparency. It's coming to an end soon, but not entirely. I don't care what kind of... We'll find another way to prosecute those guys. They were pretty creative in going after Trump, but we'll follow the law and the evidence. You're right. That makes total sense for the president of the United States.
Oh, yeah, I put that gun on
To say, well,
oh, man.
as he's dodging the question, as I think he will for the rest of his life,
Oh, shit.
about the pardon of his son Hunter. His son Hunter. A total and full complete pardon for anything he did or may have done during an unusually long period of time from 2014 to just the other day, to Saturday. Eric Eggers has been all over Biden family corruption for a long time. He is the vice president of the Government Accountability Institute, along with Peter Schweitzer, one of our favorites. He hosts the Drill Down podcast. Eric, welcome back. Please tell us something else about this thing. I think you have an angle, like you always do, that other folks aren't necessarily picking up on right away.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. First, I think it's not inappropriate for Joe Biden to be in Africa because pardoning his son, who made money off of his father's political career, seems like the kind of thing that happens in the third world. But as you and I discussed earlier, Greg, the thing that I think people should be paying attention to is while the pardon period begins in January of 2014, and that's right around the same time that Hunter Biden's business dealings began in China and Ukraine and Russia, the fact that it's extended through Thanksgiving of this year to December 1st, just a couple of days ago, I think is telling maybe in this respect. If the Biden business model has always relied on Hunter's ability to collect money based on the appearance of Joe Biden doing something that matters to clients, what was Joe Biden doing that mattered in 2024? And the facts are these. If, in fact, there was any negotiation between the period of the debate in which Joe Biden was failed to be mentally incapable of being president and running for office and winning, and the time in which he officially left the race, if there was any negotiation that occurred, because remember, the Biden family said, we're in, we're staying in, we're the strongest, and everybody was on the same page until suddenly they weren't. If there was any negotiation, Hunter as the bagman had any role in negotiating a buyout of some sort that infringed on legal standards, Joe Biden's pardon of Hunter Biden would cover that as well. And unfortunately, while we have no proof that happened, that would be entirely consistent with the business model of the corrupt Biden empire, because that's how they do business, and the fact that it was for he needs the pardon to be now held perfect.
So, when they went after President Trump on fake stuff, they had a federal case, they had the state case, they had a local case. I mean, is there a way to investigate the Bidens at the state level? Is that possible? These attorneys general of the states, that can be pretty creative. This I guess, protects them from federal charges, but not necessarily state and local charges.
No, it's a great point. I've seen it mentioned that while he is officially pardoned from his tax charges at the federal level, when you file federal taxes, you also will file state taxes. And so if somebody was so inclined, they could, if he wasn't on the up and up with his federal taxes, he probably wasn't on the up and up with his state taxes as well. But I do think, I mean, look, we've seen a sea change now politically. Joe Biden can do no one any good. The Biden business model is closed. If anything, the pardons are almost like a going out of business sale. This is the one thing they have to offer anymore. So, people are going to line up to see if they can be forgiven for their sins. And so I think while people now recognize it's good politics to be anti-corruption and frankly anti-Joe Biden, it wouldn't shock me if some enterprising attorneys general in states that are red or blue might take a look at this.
All right, so it's wild, isn't it? Just wild. Let's take a look at what the one Democrat is saying. This Democrat
Now you
strategy
just
for
need to
Libby
attach
Lee,
the device to an electrical box at the top of the LSIA control tower. I have your psych profile. Your only listed fears are boredom and public speaking, so the height shouldn't be a problem.
It covered the Burisma years. It covered Biden's own involvement. It covered the time when James Biden was runner. Yeah, to keep an eye on to see if Biden was James as well. This whole thing is sprawling. Yeah, we didn't Nixon. Gerald Ford's pardon of Nixon. This is even more all-encompassing than that. Worse than Nixon. Whatever they was.
Actually, Nixon's part of Gerald Ford was very, very thoughtful, and Gerald Ford addressed the nation and talked to everybody about it. It's one of the best speeches, I think, in presidential history. But how about that? What do you think the chances are that James Biden, Frank Biden, and that they're more I mean, he hasn't received all that much criticism for this, strangely enough, right, from dominant media.
No, it's a great point, but the reason why he hasn't received criticism is because he can be portrayed as this loving and sympathetic father who would do anything to keep his son out of prison. The angle that Joe Biden has enjoyed the last couple of years. He didn't face prosecution from Ben-Hur over mishandling a classified document, not because he wasn't guilty of it, but because he would have been a sympathetic defendant who can't recall dates, times, and maybe the actual location of the moment. So I think, but if you start pardoning Greg Biden, start pardoning Jim Biden, you start pardoning the 7 other Biden family members that have taken money in some way, shape, or form from the Biden business scheme, now you're not just a sympathetic father, you're the godfather who's covering his tracks. And so it's like, oh, he's a great father, he's a great brother, he's a great cousin, he's a great client of this banker, we pardoned him too, maybe, right? I mean, it starts to become, what's the narrative that we're telling? And if Democrats are starting to become critical now, the worse it gets, I think the louder the criticism will get as well.
Going forward, the media, they used to be a watchdog. They used to kind of enjoy big, juicy, meaty stories, be they about Republicans or even Democrats. They have been so reflexively defensive and defenders of everything Democrat, everything Biden. I think their skills have atrophied. They don't know how to do it. I can't name names, but I saw a guy come on and he thought he had an exclusive story about, no, that's not exclusive, and that's not even interesting anymore. I feel like a lot of them forgot how to be journalists.
Yeah, I think they did forget how to be journalists, and I think there was this key watershed moment, if you like, in terms of the way Americans view the media. And it was, I think, the debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Because we were told for months that Joe Biden was at his sharpest. This was the guy. He's as smart as he's ever been, Joe Scarborough proclaimed from behind his desk. And, and then even when the report came out, saying, hey, we think this guy's got a faulty memory, the New York Times ran an op-ed from a neuroscientist that said, we're thinking about remembering and forgetting it the wrong way. So everything was bent towards this guy is the guy. And then we all saw in plain sight that he was not. We've all seen that guy. That's not the guy who wants to be president. That's not the guy who wants to be running for president. And that's very much not the person we were told existed in the most powerful position in the world for years. So once that lie was exposed, then it's like, what else have you been lying about? And Joe Biden has been lying for years, by the way, about his knowledge and involvement in processes on Hunter Biden. So that's one of the reasons why I think this pardon happened, and I think it's one of the reasons why it's so revealing and frankly so damning.
They're so full of themselves. Aren't they? They hand each other these awards, and they talk about we. who tell the truth here, and we showed everybody every step of the way. You know, and it's so amazing.
All right, we might be ready to move on this thing. If you want the work.
How often does the drill down drop? The drill down drops once a week. We'll have a new episode out tomorrow. And Greg, while the rest of the world has yet to shower you with the media attention, accolades, and awards you deserve, I'm sure that it's coming. So don't worry, you'll get your one. I don't love politely refuse it. I'll do that thing that that Indian woman did with for Marlon Brando. Remember that thing? No, thank you. No, thank you. Thanks a lot, Eric Eggers. We continued, and we'll be right back. President Trump in the Situation Room at the White House. As you know, Cash has been nominated to be the FBI director. And now that he's the hottest guest in town, you can't get him. These guys, they have to go underground once they get nominated. They do very little, if any, media. But that's okay. We've got Rick Grinnell with us. Rick knows Cash well, knows the president well, of course, as, well, he's director of national intelligence. And his future, who knows what? The sky is the limit. Welcome back, Rick Grinnell. Rick, what do you think of Cash Patel?
Very great to see you. I couldn't be more excited about this pick. Cash is an amazing person. He has been a public defender as well as a prosecutor. This guy is brave, courageous, a total patriot. He is somebody who absolutely thinks about fairness, the little guy, the regular person, the American people. He's not thinking about the powerful in Washington. And look, let me just tell you, the powerful in Washington are out to get him because they do not want somebody like Cash Patel, who is completely qualified, maybe the most qualified FBI director I've ever seen. You can't have somebody who just has been inside the FBI for their entire career and then promote them to be the director of the FBI. They're not going to think outside of the box. They're not going to bring in new perspectives. They have been through the ringer of the FBI and carry a lot of baggage. This is somebody, Cash Patel, who's been on the outside doing investigations, doing law enforcement. He is somebody who understands the criminal prosecution from both angles. I couldn't be more excited for Cash. I'm going to be there every step of the way. He's going to be confirmed, and here's why. Because the American people know that the FBI needs reforming, and Cash Patel is the guy who understands how to reform with still keeping the great history of the FBI, restoring exactly what it used to be to its greatness. Cash is going to be the best FBI director we've ever seen.
You know, thank you. I feel the same way. And, you know, people are giving him a hard time. Oh, he's a corporate defense attorney. That's like part of the justice system, right? You can be a prosecutor. He was a prosecutor, but also a defense attorney. This whole thing, oh, he wasn't an agent. Their patron saint, J. Edgar Hoover, wasn't an agent. Most FBI directors, in fact, I think all of them were not agents, except for maybe, I don't know, Louis Freeh for about 10 minutes in 1980. It's just going to be fantastic. Why are they so afraid? I mean, he's gonna blow it up. I mean, the outrage doesn't, in a way, almost make sense to me. What are they really afraid of?
Look, it's pretty simple. Anyone who is from the outside, who doesn't live and work and breathe and have their next job in Washington, D.C., is considered an enemy by these people. They are the ones who absolutely want Washington, D.C. to stay the same and be powerful. This is why they don't like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the outsider who comes in and uses common sense. Cash Patel is going to use common sense. He's going to fight for the American people, not for the powerful in Washington. And these powerful people are going to lose their access. And so they are going to do everything they can to try to stop Cash. But here's the good news. Our side controls the Senate, and our senators know that the FBI is in drastic need of reform. The reason our senators know that is because when they go home, they hear from the American people constantly. The American people know this. And so I'm just challenging people to call your senator, start pushing now, because Cash Patel is FBI director. I couldn't be more excited about it. it's a fantastic idea.
Once the
Thanks to
plane is
President
down
Trump
in
for
the
doing it.
LMOC,
And
we'll need to
the
find the
American
black
people
box
have
and pull it out.
So I'm MAGA, I support MAGA, and unlike the left, unlike the fake news, I don't like to ignore bad news for our side when it happens. I just, that's what they did. They ignored the laptop. They pretended Joe Biden didn't lie or doesn't lie. With that said, I want to bring up the whole matter of Pete Hegseth designated for DOD, Secretary of Defense. Look, the mom's email is a big problem. I think he has a lot to offer this country. It would seem, not at this time, the stakes are so high right now, and Pete Hegseth, there's a lot of life left. I just don't see how this gets across the finish line, and I actually don't necessarily see how it should get across the finish line.
So, Greg, I think this is where you and I disagree a little bit, because President Trump deserves to have Pete Hegseth. He nominated Pete Hegseth. He is a patriot. He's somebody who understands from an outsider perspective what needs to be done in the Department of Defense. I've seen some of these charges against him, and frankly, I think this is a lot of what the left tries to do. They try to push constantly on these issues. I see it with Capitol as well. And I just think, our side of the aisle needs to look at the facts. We need to make decisions not because of what the media is saying, but actually the facts. And so I couldn't be more proud of the nominations, and President Trump deserves to have his pick.
President Trump also probably deserved to know about some of these matters before he put the name forward. And my understanding is that Pete Hegseth had the opportunity, hey, is there anything we might want to know about you? And declined to offer that. So I like Pete. He's only 44 years old. Life is long. And I think he has a big future contributing to the country. But all right, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Look, I don't want to end like that where I disagree with Rick Burnell and you and me. All right.
Can I just add one quick thing? We certainly don't know what Pete has shared. He knows his life. He could have easily have shared this with the vetting team, and they knew exactly what was going to unfold. And a lot of these allegations are just not true. The media are just going crazy with this. And so I just challenge people to look at the facts. Lastly, let me just say about Kash Patel. He was my deputy as the director of National Intelligence Strategy acting. I know him well. I know his demeanor. People love him. And I couldn't tell you how many people came up to me at DNI and said, wow, we love Kash. His media has anything like he did. You love him. You realize he's fighting for the country.
And guess what? We went to the same high school. So anyway, it's a done deal. It's a done deal. I can't wait. For the FBI, Rick Burnell, thank you many thanks. Just more, remember when Joe Biden put on that Trump hat? What was he trying to do? What do you think he was really trying to do? So trying to screw up the Harris. Yeah, just like that Joe Biden on the way to win. It would make a lot of sense. He's bitter about being pushed out. Never had much respect for her to begin with. He could go down in history as the one guy quote-unquote, beat Donald Trump. A lot of folks noticed the body language in the Oval Office. Joe seemed pretty content for the first time in a long time. The human brain isn't it? And how about this headline? Sometimes it's amusing, sometimes it's pretty disturbing. Is Biden sabotaging Trump's plan to peacefully end the Russia-Ukraine war? Now, who would do such a thing? Maybe a human being. Maybe a human being. One of them weird hang-ups. Dr. Karen Lieberman is a psychiatrist and a friend of Newsmax. Welcome back, Dr. Lieberman. And, hi. It is kind of human to want to see somebody you're supposed to want to succeed fail, right? There's something kind of fundamentally human about that, or maybe that's just me.
Well, it's called Schadenfreude, which is a German word, and it means, Schaden means damage or harm, and Freud means joy. We're not talking about the father of psychoanalysis, F-R-U-D-E. And so what it is the joy about someone else's misfortune. And yet, Biden really does seem more relaxed and more happy than usual. And clearly he is happy that Kamala lost. You know, it's his way to say that, you know, you people should have had me continue. I could have won. I think he still has that delusion that if he would have been the nominee, the state nominee, that he would have won. And you know, it's natural. It is natural when you're jealous of someone, when you're competitive with them. It's kind of a natural feeling, especially when the stakes are so high in terms of like presidency. There's also something else. He has a jumble of emotions. There's also something else that he's feeling, and that is what's called the tall poppy syndrome. The tall poppy is the poppy or the person who stands above the rest and demands attention, you know, for their qualities, for their good qualities, for their achievements and so on. And they are people, you know, you're the tallest one, figuratively speaking, in a field of poppies, for example, if you visualize that, you're the one who stands out, you're red, you draw a lot of attention. And that makes people who similarly are jealous or competitive want to cut you down, literally cut you down. So I think he's feeling all of these things about Kamala. But in addition to that...
And what about Trump, the tall poppy, the tallest poppy around, I think might be Trump. He's got to be insanely jealous. And the worst thing in the world, I mean, it's bad. I wish we were better than this, but he does not want, he would rather prevail than peace if it would reflect badly on Trump, because Trump has promised to end this war.
Yes. Well, of course, it goes without saying that he's been jealous and angry and incredibly resentful of Trump, especially after the debate. But there's another thing going on in terms of the war. I mean, one thing, of course, is how he owns Ukraine. But it has to do with his feelings of market revenge. That's the other feelings about the poppy and the Schadenfreude and all that as far as Kamala. But towards America, he wants revenge, because he's angry that America didn't re-elect him.
All right. And let me see. That brings us to faith. Now, I think people of faith can overcome these very human feelings, but that's where it gets a little bit funny with Joe. I've never heard him talk about his faith in a serious way. He always uses it as a punchline. Take a look at this.
The historic investment we're celebrating today is in Congressman Wilbert Fisk. My predecessor distinguished. Anyway.
Adventure goes the long way. It's it does treat it like a joke, but it's true. I think that we have these animal instincts, you know, where you don't want somebody to succeed, you have these jealous, but faith, belief in God, it can come from God. You can transcend all this stuff. I believe through your faith.
Yes, faith or therapy. But you know, it's interesting. I think some people say, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned," for feeling so jealous and competitive and all of that. But it's interesting that he made that sign when he was sitting with Netanyahu. He didn't say something that, you know, you could consider as sin, but it just showed really what he's thinking about Netanyahu when he's just sitting there quietly, which is very frightening.
All right. So, what do you think happens next? Does he get therapy? Does he need therapy? Could he benefit from therapy? I think he could benefit from a few years in prison, but I just, I don't know. Parting thoughts. We're not going to see him around for much longer.
Yes. Well, we just got unfortunate. We're going to miss some funny, some funny scenes. But you know, I think that what we need to do is, first of all, hopefully, he will not begin World War III before Trump takes office. And yes, of course, he needs therapy. But you know, I've been saying since 2020, when he was in his basement, that he had encroaching dementia. At that point, he needed therapy. He needed an exam by a neurologist. He needed, PET scans, CAT scans, all of those things to see what is wrong with his brain. So this is long overdue.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Lieberman. You can go to Dr. Carol with an E, drcarol.com. if you need a little advice, thank you very much, doctor, and we'll be right back.
Juries, if I'm liable for
I got all that bullshit. I ain't want all that bullshit.